In 1930, a British ship approached the island of Queimada Grande in the Atlantic Ocean. People lived on the island. There was a lighthouse. There was a lighthouse keeper. When the sailors landed, they found empty houses, a set table, half-eaten food, and not a single person. The island was alive. The people had vanished. But that's not the strangest part of the story. The island existed. There are islands that have been marked on maps for centuries. Sailors saw them. They described them. Some even lived there. And then the island vanished. It didn't sink. It wasn't destroyed by a storm. It was just that one day a ship would arrive at the coordinates and find only the open ocean. These are called Phantom Islands, and there are dozens of them in history. The island of High Brazil. Irish sailors saw it for 7 centuries in a row. It was marked on maps dating back to 1325. Described as round, with a mountain in the middle covered in greenery. It was said that giants and sages lived there, who knew the secret of immortality. It was seen for the last time in 1872. Captain Robert Shalto wrote in his log, "We are approaching the shore. The shore is receding." When the ship reached the coordinates, there was nothing there. Sanderson Hope Island, Greenland, plotted on maps in 1957 by a Danish expedition, surveyed, photographed, named. In 2012, another expedition arrived at the same coordinates and discovered that the island had never existed. In its place, a depth of 150 meters. But the most disturbing case isn't about rocks and water. It's about people. There were people there 1900, Scotland. The Flannan Isles. A lighthouse on a rock in the middle of the Atlantic. 3 keepers, James Juquet, Thomas Marshall, Donald MacArthur. Experienced men. The lighthouse was operating normally. On December 26, 1900, the tender Eileen Moore arrived for an inspection. The lighthouse had not responded for several weeks. The light was not burning. The sailors went ashore. The lighthouse door was locked from the inside. Inside, a set table, food. Chairs pushed back. One chair overturned as if someone had jumped up suddenly. The clock had stopped. The logbook ended with an entry from December 15. The last entry, "God have mercy on us." The 3 men were never found. The official version, they were swept away by a wave. But the door was locked from the inside. And the weather on December 15, according to weather stations, was calm. There are dozens of unofficial versions. None of them explains the locked door. When the island itself disappears, but let's return to the islands that are physically disappearing. 2012. The Pacific Ocean. Sandy Island, or as it was officially known, Isle de Sable. It had been marked on maps since 1876. It appeared on Google Maps, on official Australian nautical charts. The Australian research vessel Southern Surveyor was passing by its coordinates and decided to stop by. In place of the island, an ocean 1,400 meters deep. The island had existed on maps for 136 years. It never existed. Scientists explained it simply. A mistake by the first cartographer, which was copied by all who followed. No one checked. But then the question arises, how many other things on world maps don't actually exist? And, even more frightening, how many things exist but aren't marked on maps? The most baffling mystery, in 1955, the Soviet icebreaker *Ob* was sailing near Antarctica and spotted an island. The coordinates were recorded. Its dimensions were recorded. Photographs were taken. In the 1960s, an expedition was sent there. The island was gone. The 1955 photographs still exist. They show cliffs, snow, and the shore. Scientists have studied the images. They say this is a real island, not an illusion, not a mistake. Where it went is unknown. One theory is underwater volcanic activity. The island rose and sank back down. over the course of 5 years. No one voices the other theory aloud. But it exists. Sometimes things just disappear, and no explanation comes. The Flannan Isles are still there in the Atlantic. The lighthouse has been repaired. Now it's automated, there are no people there. Maybe that's why everything's fine. Sometimes the best solution is not to send people there. If you liked this story, the next one will be about a ship found drifting in the ocean. With a working engine, with food on the stove, and not a single person on board. Subscribe, because some stories are better experienced with others.